In the headlines, Finance Minister Zainab Ahmed says CBN didn't consult ministry on redesign of Naira notes. Nigerian police debunks claims of planted bombs across Abuja. Father of slain Assistant Superintendent of Police Shaibu Sani Malumfashi demands justice for son. And on the foreign scene, families bury victims of Chad pro-democracy protests, demand justice for slain journalist Narcis. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Dashan Hussaina Usman. Now the news in detail. The Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, on Friday said the Central Bank of Nigeria did not consult her ministry before taking the decision to redesign Naira notes by December. She made the disclosure during the budget debate of the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning in Abuja. The minister said even though one of the reasons for the decision is to manage inflation, consequences are sure to follow. She also said she was not aware if the monetary authorities have looked closely at the consequences and how they will mitigate them. Senator Bamidele had in his question told the finance minister that barely 2 days after the announcement of the policy by CBN, the negative impact of the policy on the Naira against the dollar is already being felt.
More than a few Nigerians have been concerned about the ongoing rising in the value of the dollar as against our Naira, weakening the purchasing power of Nigerians who don't have any corresponding increase in their income, be it salary or whatever it is that they are doing. Now, this policy of the CBN, upon its announcement and the desire of those who actually had this Naira stacked in their domain, now trying to quickly buy dollar to ensure that they are still able to hold on to their money. Part of the immediate effect on that is that dollar is going up. In the black market, we're told as of yesterday, dollar was exchanging for 788 naira to $1.
That really you should call the monetary authorities because they're the competent authority to do this. We were not consulted. It was an announcement that we heard. And I've seen,
you two, you just saw the press release like every other party.
Part of the reasons that was advocated is that's one of the ways to mop up liquidity to manage inflation. But there are also consequences that we're also looking at what would the consequences be. There will be some benefits, but there will be some challenges. And I don't know whether the monetary authorities have actually looked very closely as what the consequences are and then how they can be mitigated. So I still advise that you have that discussion with the monetary authorities.
Similarly, reactions have continued to trail the announcement by the Central Bank of Nigeria to redesign the Naira. In Makurdi, Benue State, Jimmy Azande sampled the opinions of residents. His report.
The announcement has received different reactions by residents of Makurdi. Some residents lauded the move, saying it can be a way of fighting corruption, which may lead to a better electioneering process.
There are many politicians, they hijack this currency, our money, and go and load it in their personal house to deceive Nigeria. Now, we thank God, it will fall back onto their heads and they will never succeed. I love it.
It's not a welcome idea. They would have just left the currency the way it is. Our issue in this country is not changing currency. We are faced with a lot of problems in this country, which the government should have tackled. And the issue of dollar rising up is another issue that the government should have tackled, not bringing new currency.
While others see it as necessary, referring it as another policy they cannot mitigate the current economic crisis in the country.
A credit policy that is supposed to take place between 5 to 8 years. It's just that this country we're inconsistency. It's due to our inconsistency that when policy issue comes up, we feel frightened about what this is. We should not be frightened about policy issues. If things that government really want to do, and it's from time to time to do it, if we are consistent, I don't know, nobody should be surprised that this is coming up now.
But in the other side, they are the one who doing it and they will not follow the good places. If not, because some people stole money. That is why I think say it's in a good way. Because if they do that thing, people that are storing our currency, they will not hard with the money again.
However, some residents who said they are not even aware of the announcement hope that the redesigning of the currency will not further devalue the naira.
I'm hearing it for the first time, but I'm happy to hear it because if they think it's a good development for them, I'm also happy. It will not affect my business. What the government like, I think it's a very good progress for us.
The CBN has announced that on December 15, 2022, the redesigned currency will be released. The regulating bank also stipulated end of January 2023 to face off what will become the old currency notes in the economy.
On security, the Nigerian police have refuted the speculation that bombs have been buried across Abuja. Force Public Relations Officer Muyiwa Adejobi stated this in a statement on Saturday. The FPRO noted that it was disheartening that some persons were spreading false information after the terror alert by the United States, the United Kingdom, and others. Adejobi said among the individuals making the claim are presumed peace ambassadors and patriotic agents of national unity in Nigeria. He said the broadcast of fearful rumors to further create more panic in the Federal Capital Territory will not do the country good. Adejobi insisted Abuja is safe and there is no imminent threat, nor is the FCT saturated with bombs as speculated. In politics, the Northwest Vice Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Salihu Lukman, says the party in the zone has reconciled many aggrieved members ahead of the 2023 general elections. He also admitted that there are still others who have made up their minds against any reconciliation. Speaking in a press conference in Kaduna, the APC chieftain noted that there are indicators that the party is waxing stronger and making progress in spite of disagreements in some states in the zone.
Including one who actually contested the primary, are now with the candidate and they are part of the campaign council. Of course, one aspirant is in court, and those are the kind of challenges I was telling you. Of course, we have cases like the case in Katsina where one of the aspirants has left the party. Of course, we understand very well there are people who once mindset is formed, you can't change their mindset. We can't force people to remain in the party if they are mind. And part of the challenge, and this is why as a party we believe we will work hard to achieve that, we have to elevate the business of politics to the level whereby people who contest election are able to accept the result of the election even when they don't win it.
Ahead of the 2023 elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission has reaffirmed its readiness to join forces with all the security operatives in the country for a successful and secured exercise. INEC Chairman Professor Mohammed Yakubu said this at a meeting with the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security and Civil Society Organizations at the Commission's headquarters in the nation's capital. Noel Sampson reports.
Insecurity ravaging parts of the country is a headache for the electoral umpire, and without peace and security, it will not be possible to achieve successful polls at the forthcoming elections. These has necessitated consultative meeting between INEC and security agents in the country. The Commission shares its readiness to cooperate with security forces for a successful conduct of the 2023 election.
We'll continue to share information with the security agencies and, most importantly, work together to ensure that elections hold peacefully nationwide as scheduled. As the 2023 general election approaches, we will continue to appraise the security situation in the country and its possible impact on the conduct of elections. We are right now working to harmonize our election risk management and election violence mitigation and advocacy tools, EVMAT, for a more effective risk assessment and mitigation measures ahead of the general election.
The security operatives were commended for professionalism during the just concluded Ekiti and Osun governorship elections. INEC expects more from them ahead of the forthcoming election.
However, the NSA has observed the violent dimensions of electioneering campaigns, which characterizes attacks on campaign rallies, political campaign offices, as well as passing of uncomplimentary remarks and uncalled utterances among politicians, which recently witnessed in some states, signal potential threat to the smooth conduct of the forthcoming elections in February 2023.
The Commission has been meeting with the various electoral stakeholders to get a buy-in for peaceful conduct of the elections. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
On education, university students across the nation have expressed mixed feelings over the extended academic session as a result of the 8-month strike by Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. At the University of Maiduguri, both staff and students have resumed to complete the remaining 2021-2022 academic session. Our correspondent Beatrice Kuruti had a chat with some of the undergraduates on their experience during the strike. The report.
It is a busy day for this set of students on campus. The institution just resumed from an 8-month-old ASU strike, and lectures have already started in some departments in the university. Some of the students looked delighted back in school again, but lamented the wasted months in the academic calendar, which made some of the students to lose confidence in the education system and the zeal to return back to campus.
Back to school. So, it was not funny because it happened at the wrong time to me, I might say, because, let me say most, depends on the kind of salary earners.
This 9 months is almost 1 semester, 2 semester. So, if there is no strike, we have been in final year today, now. That's why.
Actually, I didn't go any visitation. I stayed in this town. And I thank God I learned graphics designing. So I went into graphics designing, and then I was like designing it. Then started like designing for people too, and then I get paid. Like that. I didn't want to like stay like idle.
I attended cooking classes. I tried new things, watching movies and reading books, just a little, just to while away time.
The students pray that the face-off between the federal government and ASU will be completely resolved to avoid future strikes, noting that reoccurrence disrupts plans and future ambitions.
Yes, I'm prepared to marry. Before, I'm thinking that I will marry after I finish my degree. But now it is not possible because I don't know when to finish. This strike may even happen in the future. So I have no guarantee. That's why I will do my marriage.
As a guy like this now, in the country that we are like this now, somebody will want to like, okay, I need to like finish school, so year. I need to start like making money, so year, so that I will like help my family out. Basically, I think we depend on oil based on what we've been hearing and then like this. Since we depend on oil and then they have the money, so at least they should utilize the money that they are having in that oil to invest into education. Because if they don't invest into this education, like you might just like end up training up quacks.
Oh God. We will go and beg ASU, please, and beg federal government too. They should please try and prioritize education, because everyone, since I was going there, like, what the future. And then because everybody needs us. Like now, okay, for instance, now this person studying engineering, this person studying medicine. We need people to build our houses.
At the moment, the students are preparing for their continuous assessment, which will commence next week, and thereafter write examinations, which is scheduled to begin in early November. The rush is to complete uncovered courses before the next semester sets in.
You're still watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break. How traditional musicians, drummers are fading. Do stay with us.
Rewa kamar ta saka mai wuya ya zo ya haɗe su kap.
This is not the first time it's happening. It has happened before, but this time around, like I said, the intensity and the volume of water that has come has done more damage than even the past.
No food, no clothing, and no shelter. Until tomorrow, every year, there is a budget line for us in Hausa Dam. Every year, because I've seen it and I know it. But till tomorrow, nothing has been done about it.
So the Nigerian factor certainly is one of the reasons why communities like this have to suffer.
Ba wani rayuwar da za mu sake yi mu ji daɗi kuma.
Welcome and thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you're watching Trust News Update. Here's a recap of some of our top stories. We told you that Finance Minister Zainab Ahmed says CBN didn't consult Ministry on redesign of Naira notes. We also heard that Nigerian police debunks claims of planted bombs across Abuja. Moving to other stories, the father of slain Assistant Superintendent of Police Shuaibu Sani Malumfashi wants proper investigation and justice for his son. Malumfashi was allegedly killed by a colleague at his residence in Argungu, Kebbi State. Sani Malumfashi made the call during a press briefing in Kaduna. The report.
Expressing his dissatisfaction with the way and manner the Nigerian police is handling the case of his son said to have been killed by his police colleague, Sani Malumfashi says he is ready to ensure justice is served.
I'm doing that to protect people from being the next victim. If a police assistant superintendent will kill a divisional crime officer, who is me, the bloody journalist? Who is me, the bloody trader that will have a guarantee to even sleep with his eyes closed? We want to avert reoccurrence of a policeman whose earning is from taxpayers' money in Nigeria, who is being paid to protect lives and properties of the citizenry and even resident, that is resident nationals or other nationals from other countries resident in Nigeria, is doing this. What is the fate of the ordinary man in the society?
According to him, it is important for the Inspector General of Police to know the true picture of how his son was stabbed to death and appropriate action taken against whoever killed him.
And I am calling on the Chairman Police Service Commission, the Chairman Senate Police Committee, the Chairman of the lower arms of the government, that is the House of Reps, and then my own state of origin, Katsina State, I want them to come up. It is their son who could have been somebody. I am ready, even if I will sell my only car, my only house, to take son up to Supreme Court. I will do to make sure justice is done.
ASP Shuaibu Sani Malumfashi was said to have been stabbed to death with scissors by his colleague. Until his murder, ASP Shuaibu Sani Malumfashi was crime officer at the Arugungun Divisional Police Headquarters. He had disagreement with his suspected killer prior to his murder. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
In health, the declining state of hospital infrastructure and attendants' inability to manage accidents and emergency cases is taking a toll on the health of Nigerians. In Makurdi, the Benue State capital, our correspondent spoke to some residents who shared their experiences in some health facilities. The report.
Hospitals in Makurdi, according to some residents, are gradually becoming death traps as against their intended purpose of saving lives. According to a doctor at the Benue State University Teaching Hospital, who spoke to Trust TV off camera, neither the facilities nor personnel are enough to handle accident and emergency cases. Residents corroborate his position as they share their experiences.
So when they brought her, took her to the accident and emergency ward, which was the first point of call for emergency cases. So they had to, we came there around 10 a.m. in the morning. I even had to call someone who made calls to a nurse in the hospital there who was not on duty but connected us to his colleague who now came in to help us. But even at that, we came in by 10 a.m. in the morning, and before they could attend to her, assign a bed to her, we stayed there till 9 p.m.
Orio Chapa is a victim. He says she almost died because of hospital bureaucracy as she recounted her experience in tears.
I have fireborn. When I went there, I was shaking. I don't even know myself because the thing happened between 8-7. Then I rushed me to the hospital. When we reached there, now they are talking of a card. Me, I don't know myself. The only thing I had, my sister was calling my name, Ori, what are you trying to do, Ori? I don't even want to answer the call. And I hear my name from far, and I say, yeah, it's then that their eye opened, then they now rushed me to the inside to attend to me proper.
Many of the residents said the best option is to go to private hospitals for emergency services, but however decried the cost, which is not pocket-friendly for many families.
I have a neighbor that took his son to government hospital because the wife was saying there is no money, they have to rush there to that place. When the boy nearly died, it was a high fever, say too much of mosquito. So they now rushed the boy to hospital. It was the man, nobody attend to the boy. That is the boy. The father of the boy now came, was shouting in the hospital. So the temperature was going high. I don't know what happened. That somebody now came and rushed, the boy was going down. Somebody now came and rushed the boy to the ward. Children.
The need to check the activities of hospitals is paramount due to the declining standards of hospital infrastructure and personnel, especially when compared to the doctor-to-patient ratio in the country.
Music is described as a combination of vocal or instrumental sounds or tones in varying melody, harmony, rhythm, and timbre to form structurally complete and emotional expressive compositions. Do you listen to music? In this special report, Trust TV's Salihu Lawan takes a look at traditional musicians' lives' contribution to the sustenance of peace and their challenges in modern Nigeria. His report.
These traditional musicians performed mainly for royalties at an enclosed location called palace in the olden days. But today, in modern Nigeria, they are generally perceived as beggars by those who do not understand the importance of the group in the society in which they reside. However, these traditional musicians said they are aware of their current subordinate status in the society despite all their contribution.
While considered as beggars in some societies, the rivalry between us is sometimes alarming. One sees the other as a threat and moves to do everything possible to hinder the performance of the other group in order to humiliate it. A very skillful musician may suddenly become dull at performance just because someone has played a prank on him by use of charms.
Our job requires talent. Someone has to be very skillful on doing this job. For example, as a leader, sometimes I manipulate the rhythm of the song without prior preparation, just to get at what I want. It could be circle of friends, a traditional title holder. Some think we're singing abusive songs, but no, we are not. We are just sending messages.
This realization is sometimes evident in their performance as they often resist discrimination by singing songs to protest their marginalization.
Banga, Jauji,
We are real traditional musicians. Before, we don't sing to anybody but royalties. Modernization and some changes even at the traditional institution made us to become what we are now. Things are not like before. We don't command respect as we used to in the olden days. Besides, most of us are in other businesses, as the occupation is no longer paying like before.
Don me ka rabu da makaɗan gargajiya su ne masu tallaka duk inda ka je za su tallanka nan live za su yi.
We are not just singing, we accompany our songs with dancing. Most of us have sonorous voices and very good memory of local histories, which we transmit in oral form at performance. In this era, we know our limitations, and that's why we restricted ourselves to the opportunity available.
As significant as they are in the society, yet no specific institutionalized arrangement is made by the government to secure the future for them. From Yola, Salis Lawan, Trust TV News.
On the foreign scene, Sabin relatives on Friday stood around a coffin holding the body of 31-year-old Chadian journalist Oreje Nassis, who is among dozens killed in the violence that erupted from pro-democracy protests last week. Nassis was shot in front of his home in Chad's capital, N'Djamena, on October 20, when hundreds demonstrated across Chad to demand a quicker transition to civilian rule after the military government pushed back promised elections by 2 years. Nassis, a radio journalist who had worked with writers in the past, was heading out to cover the banned demonstrations when security forces intervened. Chad military leader Mahamat Debi has described the protest as an armed insurrection aiming to seize power, but rights groups say security forces fired live rounds on unarmed civilians. At least 50 people died and some 300 were wounded, according to the government, which has opened an investigation. With this, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Thanks for watching.